Hello everyone, welcome to Shell Lectures. So in this video we'll look at some tricky and important problems that can be asked from units and measurements, NCERT class 11 physics chapter 2 unit, so that it will be useful for our competitive exams like NEET. So without any delay, let's get into the first question. The velocity v of a particle at time t is given by v is equal to at plus b by t plus c, where a, b and c are constants. The dimensions of a, b and c are respectively. So this is the question, and they have given us a relation v is equal to at plus b by t plus c. So we know that by the principle of homogeneity, only those quantities which have the same dimensions can be added or subtracted. So here v's dimensions will be equal to that of at, and that will be equal to that of b by t plus c, right? So a's dimension will be equal to, v's dimension will be equal to at. So from that you can derive, as you can see here, they have derived a is equal to v by t. So v is equal to at because they are abiding by the principle of homogeneity. So a is equal to v by t. So from that you will be getting lt power minus 2 by t, which is lt power minus 1. This is lt power minus 1 by t. So when it comes up, it becomes lt power minus 2. So the dimension of a is lt power minus 2. So this is the only option with lt power minus 2, but still we'll check the rest of the two. So b will be this. So when you remove this, v is equal to b by t plus c. So this goes here, vt plus vc. So c gets cancelled. Am I right? Because that's just a constant, or it's some other value. So v is equal to vt. B is equal to vt. So from that you can get the dimensions of b, that is lt power minus 1 into t, that is l. So from these two you have confirmed that lt power minus 2, l and t are the dimensions of a, b and c respectively. And the third one, by some calculation which you can do here, you can rearrange and combine this term and v term, and finally you will be getting the dimensions of time. Okay, now the next question is dimensions of electrical resistance. So we know the Ohm's law, v is equal to IR. So from this we can write R is equal to v by I. So V's formula separately has been written here, W by Q, that is work done by charge. The work's dimension is m L square t power minus 2. It's equal to energy's dimensions. So charge is AT because Q is equal to IT. Charge is Q, so Q is equal to IT. So we write AT. And then you write V is equal to m. So L square, that's the same. T minus 2 here 1. So T minus 2 minus 1, T minus 3. A goes up minus 1. So these are the dimensions of V. And you know for I it's A. So you can just write it down. So M1, L2, T power minus 3, A minus 1. Again 1 minus 1 goes there. So it becomes minus 2. Okay. So the answer would be ML square T power minus 3, A power minus 2. So this is the answer. Then talking about the third one. If the error in measuring the radius of a sphere is 2%, then the error in measurement of volume. So here also the percentage error in radius they have given in percent. So it's going to be delta R by R into 100. So the value which is given is 2%. And they have asked you to find the error in the measurement of volume. You know that for a sphere the volume is given by 4 by 3 pi r cube. So here r cube with velocity r is cubed. So here r is 2. So when you write delta v by v into 100, you can instead write it as 3 into delta r by r into 100. We know that whenever an exponent is raised, then we bring the exponent to the front and multiply by the relative error which is given in the question. So the relative error given in the question is 2. So 3 into 2 gives you 6. So this is the answer. Now talking about the fourth one. If the dimensions of a physical quantity are given by m power a, L power b, t power c, then the physical quantity will be velocity if a is equal to 1, b is equal to 0, c is equal to minus 1. Let's check it. If a is equal to 1, then m, it becomes m, and b is equal to 0, then it disappears. M, t is equal to minus 1, mt power minus 1, and that's not the dimensions of velocity. So we'll solve this by elimination method. Talking about b, it's acceleration if a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1 and c is equal to minus 2. So let's put a is equal to 1 here. So m, b is equal to 1. So again L, c is equal to minus 2. So ml t power minus 2. And that's also not right. Acceleration's dimensions are lt power minus 2. Talking about force, if A is equal to 0, then this becomes 1, so this disappears. Then L power minus 1, T power minus 2. No, that's also not right. Talking about pressure, it's M is equal to 1, okay, A is equal to 1, L power minus 1, T power minus 2. So when you talk about pressure, the dimensions are M, L power minus 1, T power minus 2, so that is the right answer. Okay, so pressure's thing is force by area. So when you write force by area, you must be getting this dimensions, and that is possible only from this option. So that is the answer. Now talking about the sixth one, if the dimensions of half epsilon naught E square is the dimension of half epsilon naught E square, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space and E is electric field. So this equation is actually energy density for a capacitor. This is actually energy density for a capacitor. So that formula is this, that expression is this. So that formula directly we can write, and we can write the dimensions. So energy density's formula is electrical energy divided by volume. That is any energy divided by volume. So energy's dimensional formula is ml square T power minus 2 divided by L cube. So when you write that, you will be getting m L power minus 1 T power minus 2. So this is the right answer. Now talking about the next one, sixth one. The density of material in CGS system of units is 4 gram per centimeter cube. In a system of units in which unit of length is 10 centimeters and unit of mass is 100 grams, the value of density of material will be. So we know this general formula, N1U1 is equal to N2U2. Here they have given you N1 is 4 because that is the numerical value which they have given here. And U1 is the unit which you have to write. So gram per centimeter cube is written here, equal to N2. What is the value of N2 that they have given? That's what we have to find. The value is asked. So N2 into U2. So gram, instead of gram, you should write 100 gram because the units have been changed right now. So 100 gram divided by 10 centimeter, the whole 10 centimeter the whole cube, because it's 1 centimeter the whole cube. So 10 centimeter the whole cube. So when you solve this, you'll be getting N2 is equal to 40. So the value of the density of material is 40. Now talking about the seventh question. If voltage across a bulb rated 220 volts, so the voltage they have given, power also they have given 100 watt, drops by 2.5. So the rate at which it drops is 2.5%. The percentage of the rated value by which the power would decrease. Okay, so the voltage is decreasing by 2.5%. So in what rate would the power decrease? So we know this general formula. In general, P is equal to VI. So we know as per Ohm's law, this modification has been done. P is equal to V square by R. So resistance is always constant for a bulb. So as the resistance of the bulb is constant, what happens here? Delta P by P is equal to 2 into delta V by V, because this disappears because it's constant. So delta P by P, this 2 comes forward. As I told you earlier, when we want to find errors, we have to bring the powers to the front and multiply by the relative error given in the question. So delta P by P is equal to 2 into delta V by V. So when you multiply both sides by 100, you'll be getting percentage error on both sides. So they have asked you power would decreases. So this is what is the term which they require, delta P by P into 100, which is equal to 2 delta V by V into 100. So 2 into the values they have given, 2.5, they have already given it in percentage. So you need not convert it, multiply it by 100 and all. You can just substitute it, 2 into 2.5% is equal to 5%. So this will be the answer. Talking about the eighth question. They have given you that in an experiment, 4 quantities A, B, C and D are measured with percentage error 1%, 2%, 3% and 4% respectively. Quantity P is calculated as follows. So they have given you an error, they have given you an expression and they have asked you the percentage error in the same. So what's the formula that we use? Very simple. Delta P by P into 100 is equal to, you just bring the powers to the front, 3 into delta A by A into 100 because they have asked you percentage error, plus 2 into delta B by B into 100 plus delta C by C into 100 plus delta D into 100. So 3 into delta A, they have given 1, 2, 3, 4. So in those places, if you substitute, you will be getting 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4, that is 14%. This is such an easy question. Okay. Now talking about the 10th question. If force F, velocity V and time T are taken as fundamental units, the dimensions of mass are. So F, V and T are taken as fundamental units. We know that M, L and T, with M, L and T we have learned all the dimensions. Here just they have made a change as F, V and T. So let's write it for force first. What is force? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. So I can write it as M into L by T square. right? M into L by T square, because for acceleration it's L T power minus 2, so you can write it like this also. So you can rearrange this and write ml by T into T. You are just multiplying T square, you are just splitting up T square into T into T. So here you can find that L by T, there is a term called L by T which can be written as velocity, because length per time is equal to velocity. So m by T into V. So from this you can find the dimensions of mass by bringing T here and V down. So Ft V power minus 1. So which is right? This is right. Okay. Now talking about the 10th question. This is a pretty important question. Planck's constant h, speed of light in vacuum c, and Newton's gravitational constant g are three fundamental constants. Which of the following combinations of these has the dimension of length? So we have to calculate for each and everything, every choice, and we have to check if we are getting the dimension of length. So that will be the exact choice. So we know that for S, the SI unit is joule second, or you can tell it as Newton meter second, because it's Planck's constant, Newton meter second. And for C, it's velocity after all, so it's meter per second, and G, it's m square divided by kg square. So you can just substitute the values here. For GC by h power 3 by 2, you are substituting G as nm square by kg square, C m by s, and h power 3 by 2 nms power 3 by 2. So when you are solving this, you are getting m square by s cube. That is not the dimension of length. Now doing it for the second one, you are getting m, which is the unit of length. So that will definitely have the dimension of length. Now doing it for C, you are getting it as s. That is the dimension of time. It's not the dimension of length. Doing it for D, you are getting kg. That's the dimension of mass. It's not the dimension of length. So B will be the right answer. So everywhere you are substituting the same, and you are just simplifying to get the final answer. Now talking about the 11th question. A physical quantity is represented by x is equal to m power a, L power b, T power minus c. If the percentage of error in measurements of m, L, T are alpha percent, beta percent, and gamma percent, then the maximum percentage error in x is. So here they have given x is equal to m power a into L power b into T power minus c. And they have asked you to find the maximum percentage error in x, that is delta x by x into 100. So here again it's power, a, b and minus c are powers. So you can bring the powers to the front. A into delta m by m into 100 plus b into delta L by L into 100. Don't mind the sign minus c, just put plus c into delta t by t into 100. So a, b and c stay as they are, but delta m by m into 100 has been given as alpha percent, because they have given a percentage of error in the measurements of m, L and t are alpha, beta and gamma, which means delta m by m into 100, because percentage of error. So delta m by m into 100. So instead of this you can write alpha. So a alpha plus b, instead of this you can write beta, plus c, instead of that you can write gamma. So the final answer will be a alpha plus b beta plus c gamma. So this is the right answer. Talking about the 12th question. A student measured the diameter of a wire using a screw gauge with least count 0.001 centimeter. The correct measurement is, so the least count is 0.001 centimeter and he measured the diameter of a wire. So from these four we have to predict what the measurement would have been. So this is a pretty easy question. The least count is 0.001 centimeter. So we have the formula for screw gauge, which says that the final result will be a multiple of least count. The formula says into LC. There is a term called into LC in the formula, which means the answer will be a multiple of least count. So when you write it so, you have to multiply it with 0.001 and the answer turns out to be 5.320 centimeter. You need not mind about the numbers which are present here. You can just check the decimals. This is 0.1, this is 0.01, this is 0.001, and that's pretty the same as the least count of a screw gauge. But this is not the same. This is 0.0001. Okay. Now talking about the 13th question. Two physical quantities of which one is a vector and the other is a scalar, having the same dimensional formula. So one of these two must be scalar and the other must be vector, and both of them must have the same dimensional formula. That's what they have asked. So here talking about work and energy. Work is a scalar quantity and energy is also a scalar quantity. So this is not the right option. Torque is a vector quantity and work is a scalar quantity. So there is a chance for this option. And impulse and momentum, power and pressure. So we have got this, so let's go with it. Torque is a vector quantity. It's turning effect of force, so it's a vector quantity. It depends on the magnitude of force and distance. Force into distance. Work is also having the same formula, force into distance. So as they both are possessing the same relation between the physical quantities, their dimensional formula will also be the pretty same. So ml t power minus 2 into L, ml t power minus 2 into L. So the dimensions are also same. So this is the final answer. Now talking about the last question. A dimensionless quantity may have a unit, never has a unit, always has a unit, does not exist. So a quantity, it does not mean that a quantity always has to have basic physical units as its unit, like the length, mass, time, temperature, etc. So there are several physical quantities which do not even have a unit, but still they are, they are being widely used in several measurements and experiments. So there are some things which don't have a unit. So definitely always has a unit will not be an option. Now let's talk about plane angle and solid angle, which we learned in this lesson. What is plane angle? A ratio between the arc length and the radius. So they both are like similar, so the ratio gets cancelled and it has no dimensions. So a ratio never has dimensions, right? So there are some things like they are dimensionless, but still they represent a quantity and they have a unit. Am I right? For plane angle, the unit is radian. For solid angle, the unit is steradian. And for refractive index, the unit is nu. So for everything there is a unit. For almost everything which does not have a dimension, there is a unit. So never has a unit is also not going to be the right option. And does not exist is definitely not going to be the right option. So by elimination method, may have a unit is the right option. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Hope this helped you pretty well. And I hope this will also guide you to solve problems during competitive exams asked in this chapter. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so far. Like and share this video to whomever you know. Thank you so much for watching.